9 o'clock. If you join us for the flag salute. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business to be to approve the minutes from last week.
Also Luke Cody.
2 cents. Yeah.
I'll second.
Don moves and Bob seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. 5-0. Consent agenda. Move to authorize and direct the chairman to sign 5 tax abatements to the county tax roll in the amount of $2,580.09.
I'll make the motion.
Tom moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Don seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 4-0. I made a mistake earlier. Red is not with us. Miscellaneous motions. I have one to authorize and direct the chairman to sign a letter of support for the grant application of USD 244 in their endeavor to establish a daycare/early childhood education program. The letter we discussed last week. Bob moves.
Second.
Tom seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. 4-0. Another motion to approve the contributions to the after-prom committees with funds to come from the following. Burlington High School, $1,000 from the diversion fund. Southern Kaufman County, $500 from the Special Law Enforcement Trust Fund, $500 from the Diversion Fund. Lebo High School, $500 from the Diversion Fund, $500 from Special Parks and Rec. Waverly High School, $500 from the Diversion Fund, and $500 from the Special Law Enforcement Trust Fund.
I'll make that.
Tom moves.
I'll second it.
Don seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 4-0. Okay. Brings us to our first agenda item, radio users group. Russell by default is the speaker.
Something like that. In general, but other people will fill in the gaps. So, as we've been talking to you for probably going on 2 years now, the radios that we're currently using, the vast majority of them were purchased back in 2009, and they're at their end of life. It's getting hard to get them repaired. Motorola isn't supporting them anymore, and so we've been going through the steps of getting quotes and figuring out what we need to go ahead to meet with our current needs and future requirements of the state radio system. And so, as you see in your packets, is that a 3-ring binder? Oh, here we go. Here's the whole current proposal that I provided to you. If anybody would like to look at that, they're welcome to. I pulled out the more pertinent pages that I thought might interest you the most. Let me look at my notes here. The last time that we replaced stuff, we were going from a totally different radio system to the 800 megahertz system to integrate with the state. This time, we don't have to redo the site because we already have that. We have to do some upgrades to it. But what we're doing this time, along with the radios, is jail and dispatch and record management systems and the computer-aided dispatch system. And the dispatch consoles, which we didn't replace last time, the dispatch consoles and that related equipment. And so, on any of those things, Monica or Tasha are by far the ones to ask any questions on, especially specific. Our original quote that we got on this from Motorola was $2.6 million, and going through it and trimming out some things and sending some people to the fire district, emergency management, and dispatch. All sent somebody to radio programming class so we can program the radios ourselves. And the ones that have mobiles units, meaning the ones that are mounted in vehicles, we said instead of paying them to install them, they all have the same connections as the old radios. It'll just be a matter of pulling out the old radio and plugging in the new radio with probably very minor modifications like faceplates and what have you. And so everybody said, oh, we can do that themselves. And making a few changes, we got it trimmed down from that $2.6 million to a little over $2.1 million. So we trimmed out about $500,000 between the two quotes. And so we're here today to present this to you. This pricing is good as long as we sign a contract into March. It shows there in the red the discount that we're getting right now. If we buy everything together, $210,000 and some change. So if we buy it all now, that's the discount we get. If we buy it in pieces, like a third of it now, a third of it in another year, then that discount's probably going to go away, and that's a significant amount of money. So and so assuming that if we bought it all together, then the question is how do you want to pay for it? For example, in the past, the last time we did it, the commission bought everything, and then the different agencies reimbursed the commission. The city, police departments, city marshals, ambulance, and just reimbursed. And so on page 2, I think, of your packet, shows the breakdown, that first column. And so that shows an example of the Johnson County contract pricing is basically what we're getting today, and like the Missouri state contract next to it is what their pricing is, which is what the Kansas state contract is right now, roughly 27% off of list price. The Kansas contract isn't currently getting renegotiated, but if one were to assume, it's probably going to be real similar to the Missouri state contract pricing. And so, that's roughly like 27%, I believe, is the state contract pricing off of list price, versus we're getting around that 45 to 47% right now, ballpark figures. So if we don't buy it all together, that would be the price we would be looking to pay, even 6 months from now versus what we pay now. And so we have that information, and then assuming the commission approves to go forward and decides how you want to pay, like the fire district, for example, I know Randall said he came in and, he's right here, he can correct me if I'm wrong. A couple years ago, he came in, asked the commission to start budget for it. The commission said, well, we'll just we don't wanna add that to your budget right now, we'll figure it out when we get there, while we're there. And so, as far as the county agencies, you know, does the commission just wanna pay for it and go on, or does the commission want, like the fire district, say, to budget for it over the next, say, 3 years and reimburse them? You know, so there's kind of the two questions we have. Does anybody have anything to add?
Do we have anything set aside in any of our reserve accounts? At this
Not
time?
specifically.
Not at this time.
Yeah. Like I said, a couple years ago, you know, some of us were gonna say, mention budgeting for it, and the commission said, well, we don't wanna raise the budget right now, we'll deal with it when it comes, so. And as far as the contract language, the actual contract, Wade has reviewed it, and he had 3 different, comments. These orange tabs represent, and they have, Motorola has updated, that language in here to what Wade reviewed, and so he has reviewed the contract. And it has the changes he asked for.
I just want to point out, things like this are one of the reasons why, and I've been here long, is why we keep saying we need to increase our reserves in the county, just to take care of things like this. And nobody knows I'm gonna say this, but I'm gonna say it now. We sit here and we talk about increasing infrastructure money and stuff to the cities, and I say I'm not up for that, but I'm for doing things. I personally, and this is just something for the commission to think about, I personally, instead of worrying about infrastructure money, would not have a problem if the county picked this whole tab up for the cities and the other entities anyway. Vast majority of them are county entities anyway, emergency management, sheriff, and all those ambulance, we're gonna pay for those anyway. So if we pick up the Burlington PD, that's helping them. Lebo, Waverly, Leroy, Gridley is provided from the city, from the county anyway, Sheriff's Department, New Strong the same way, so it's not like we're cutting anybody out, but something to think about, because I mean, it doesn't amount to that much more for them, and the rest of it, if we're doing it, we're gonna be spending the money anyway, so that's just my thought on it.
If we did split it out, and I have pretty well agreed with what Bob's bringing, if we did split it out, like you got split out on page 2, there's still $1 million difference, almost $1.1 million. Where's those funds come out of? It would come out of the county anyway, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Reserve, because you're not gonna prorate that back against.
No, right, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, that's all. So the, if you look at this front page,
yeah,
the top line is the dispatch consoles where the dispatchers sit at and what they work
and those
from.
will all 3 be in the dispatch office, based on the diagram, correct?
Correct. And then the next line is all the handheld radios and vehicle mounted radios for all the entities, which is essentially that second page.
That's like $1,074,000.
And then the third line on the front page, the $625,000 is the computer-aided dispatch system, the records management system for the jail and the deputies themselves, and Tash and Monica can add into that if I'm missing something, but that's what that second line is. And then the $79,000 is the radio management system, which will keep us consistent of keeping all the radios programmed correctly and keeping their firmware updates, because essentially they're little computers, so they have updates just like Microsoft has updates, and so those have to be done every once in a while. And that records management system, or not records management system, the radio management system is the best way to make sure all 3 people who are doing the programming know which radios have been done, which ones need to be done, and with what firmware updates and everything. That's one area we looked at, maybe trying to trim, but after our research and looking into it, we really think that would be money well spent in the long term, and because it's $80,000 up front, and then it's $12,000 a year roughly going forward. But if you divide that out over all the radios over 10 years, it's like $66 a radio a year to keep them updated and current, and should make them have a longer life.
What's the value of the old radios? Or do they have any value at all?
They wouldn't, we asked about trade-in value, and they said, well, we'll show them on paperwork as a trade-in if you want to, if it's easier for you to dispose of them that way, but they weren't gonna take anything off the price for them. So from Motorola, on a trade-in value, is 0. What we've talked about is a few of them will be kept around maybe as spares. We could, once the new system's in and all the radios are turned in, we'll look at what is actually there, and we may, you know, Purple Wave or eBay some of them. We may hand some of them out. We may choose to disperse some of them to neighboring entities that are radio poor, that they've worked on for a few years. Was the couple, 2 or 3 different things we talked about doing with the old radios.
I know it's hard to predict the life of something like this. Your current radio is gonna 11 or 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Projected life of these,
Supposedly, these will last longer because they are more updatable.
even though things are changing very quickly in the technology, they
Right.
expect these to last longer.
That's what they're telling us, but obviously, like you said, we can't predict that far ahead. But we assume that they'll last just as long as the current ones, and our hope is that they would last longer.
What was the timing, like delivery?
And so that's the other thing I guess I didn't mention on the let's see, did I put that in here? On the last page of your little packet, page 23, the payment schedule is, once we sign the contract, they'll invoice us for 25%. And then as they deliver stuff, they'll invoice us for that stuff. And so I tried to call him this morning and he didn't answer. I believe what they said, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the handhelds and portables could be here as soon as 90 days. It just depends on what they have on the shelf the day we order, who else has ordered and everything. It might be as much as 6 months. You know, I don't know for sure. Then the dispatch equipment would be, I think they said in that 6 months to a year. And that,
Even as far out as 18 months.
6 to
Well,
18 months.
which equipment are you
the
talking about?
consoles.
The radio stuff.
Right. The consoles, I thought
I
he said
would say
6 months to a
6 months.
year. And then some of the computer-aided dispatch system has to be actually built, and it could be as long as 18 months or more. And so, it wouldn't be writing necessarily a $2 million check, you know, here. It'd be writing, this check is this got delivered, and this check is this got delivered. And so, a chunk of it will probably not be till at least next calendar year, next
Right.
budget year.
So is there reason to get the handhelds and portables before the CAD
Yeah.
and?
That's what's failing the most.
Right, that's what's failing the most, but is it?
They'll work with what we have, so it'd be all right if we do.
Yeah,
The main
they're
reason is
compatible.
the discount.
Make them work.
Yeah. And so it will, even if we sign that contract, if the commission signs the contract now, it won't be writing that check wholly right now. Probably 600, I'm gonna throw out there 600,000 of it wouldn't actually come till next year. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so, other than the deadline is March 13th.
You make a community improvement.
Just for this part of it, I think we need to take it from a couple of different places.
I was just pulling out 2 places.
I was just
Probably
looking
tap
at this
3 of them.
as community, improvement reserve. I was just looking at maybe, 950,000 out of it, because that would cover the cities, the ambulance, and the fire, which is kind of community improvement. And then, as we pay that, and then I was looking at taking some out of, capital improvement, which is basically the other half of it, or we could take a little bit out of equipment reserve also.
I was
Either way,
just listening, I was kind of thinking if you did about half from capital improvement and half from equipment reserve, because your community is really, what you use that money for is, you know, for community improvement, where this is more of equipment and capital expenditure. But, I mean, of course, you can do what you want, but we could replenish those two at the end of the year.
The equipment reserve is what I was a little concerned, because we're only talking 2 million in there,
Right, but if we took $1 million,
okay?
you'd still have 1.7
And then take the rest of it out of,
of capital.
of capital improvement.
And you-
And that would work too, same thing either way.
I mean, it's your call, but we'd need to redo the capital improvement plan, which we
Right.
could do that, but that's budget, or, those funds are set aside for 5 years, so we're budgeted for 5 years.
We're talking 250, basically 250,000 for the first check. And then, is that correct?
No, the first check.
Your first check's gonna be 500,000.
Yeah, because there were 2,500,000 for the first check, so we could, yeah. Yeah, either way would work. But, of course, we gotta decide whether we wanna fund the whole bill, or split the whole bill or not, but,
One way or the other, Bob, we're gonna end up putting up more.
well, basically,
it.
most of it, not all of it, most of it. Actually,
You know, we are looking at a 10-year project here as far as the life of those radios plus. Capital, technically, it wouldn't be classified as capital improvement, 'cause it's not a 20 or 30-year deal like a building, but I still wouldn't have any problem with pulling quite a bit of it out of capital improvement. Technically, it wouldn't be looked at that way in some respect,
Mhm.
because it isn't a 30-year building or
Right.
but I just kinda look at this as like, I'm gonna use the city of Burlington, for example, and use Doug as an example. We're looking at, 98,000, I think, for basically. Well, you know, if we fund them for 98,000, that is money that they have to go elsewhere. That's kinda like giving you infrastructure money. So, I mean, that's why I suggested this, and this is gonna be over a 10-year period. So it's gonna save in the smaller communities also, you know, Lebo knows, that's $10,000, that's $10,000 that they can use somewhere else, so. I mean, that's gonna be my suggestion, is we foot the bill, but, so our decision, totally up to you guys.
I don't have a problem with it.
I didn't prepare any motions because I didn't know what you guys would wanna do or anything. If you want us to prepare some motions and come back later or something, I mean, you give us the direction you want us to go.
You still got a couple of weeks, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, next week we can make that motion.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
I'd like to make get a motion and bring it back for today.
And so what-
But we
and
need
so
to
what-
decide whether
what-
we're going
Yeah, are you-
to
are
fund it
you-
or not.
The consensus I'm hearing is you're just gonna pay for it. Is that,
I don't have any problem with moving ahead without,
and so what?
we're not sure what departments are gonna, what reserve we're gonna pull it from.
Well, that's my question, is where do you want us in the motion, you know, we gotta state where you want it from.
We'll have to know. Okay,
If you
let's-
know that, or you wanna decide then, I can leave
What
a
if
couple
we-
of blanks, but.
What if we take $1 million from equipment reserve? And then take the rest of it from,
Community improvement
yeah,
or capital, I mean, either one, it's got substantial. Depends on how
Okay,
you wish
well-
to classify it, I guess.
You know, community
I would
improvement.
say capital improvement, take the rest from capital improvement, because I like to keep community improvement there. If something happens in a community, we have money to help them.
At the end of the year, we can readjust the
Sure.
funds we go into the
Sure.
reserves anyway.
Sure
So
we can.
we got a lot of flexibility at year end.
So
So, even though I made the comment, technically it's not a capital investment, you know, it's long enough venture that we could take the rest of it and we could replace those funds at year end if we need to.
Mm-hmm.
So what if we take $1 million from equipment reserve and take the rest of it from capital improvement? Would that work, Andy? Got any problem?
And again, some of that won't come out till next year.
Right, some of it won't be coming out, but at least we know
So
where
you
the
said
money,
equipment
the money will
reserve
be
and
coming
capital
from.
improvement for the rest. Equipment reserve for $1 million and capital improvement for the rest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only other thing, Can I say something?
Sure.
The only other thing would be, if you wanted to go ahead and declare it all to come out of equipment reserve, and then we could just put it all at the end of the year. That's another option, so you can do equipment too.
Just make transfers at the end of the year to cover it back.
That worked too, thanks.
Whichever is simplest for you, Angie. I mean, it sounds like the
You think
commission's gonna go ahead and pay for all of it,
Do you
so we
think-
need to keep you as,
We'll pay about $1 million, like, say if we paid $1 million this year.
I would
do you think-
estimate we'll pay $1.5 million this year, is my
Okay.
estimate.
And then next year, maybe the rest.
Mhm.
Well, you could do that and just say all equipment
Okay.
reserve, and then we'll just fill it back up.
That worked. Worked too.
Okay.
that say splitting it up to me, that would simplify it.
But now, okay, we will need to know, well, we've got the money there, I didn't say it, so the treasurer would need to know when we're gonna pay that big old check. We need to make them aware of that in advance, so.
So
So
like you
money's
said, the
available.
first check will be 25% of the so the first check would be,
$550,000.
yeah, within the next couple months. By March.
Essentially with the contract.
Connie's here, so you can keep her, well, I'm sorry.
Don't have anything to do with this.
Treasurer.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Karen's here too.
Any other questions? I'll put a motion together and have Wade and Angie look at it and
Bring her back. Yep.
have her back Monday.
Yep.
Anybody else have anything? I think that's all I have. Yep.
Take care of it.
Anybody want this left up here, or can I take it back with me?
You can have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Take care, Jared.
Okay. Elizabeth, you ready?
I had to clear a room, come to talk about elderly services. This is wrong. Okay, I did come to talk about elderly services. Give me the end of the year report. Okay, I am Elizabeth Maxwell.
Radio.
Oh, radio, sure.
Thanks.
Don't need the radio.
You have one posted down there in the end.
I do.
Thank you.
Every year I come, talk about end of the year report, what we've done in the county for the past year. I generally, put a few stories in our end of the year report, so you can read them and really get a feel for the types of services we provide. Overall, just a reminder, we serve 6 counties: Anderson, Coffee, Franklin, Lynn, Miami, and Osage. And in those counties, on the very first page, it talks just about the listing of the types of services we provide. Our main focus is on providing any type of service to people aged 60 and over that can help them stay in their homes for as long as possible and delay going to a nursing facility. In addition to that, we also work with the Medicaid program. And with the Medicaid program, we provide the functional assessments for people who are frail elderly, physically disabled, or have had a traumatic brain injury. It's just basically an assessment to see if they meet the federal guidelines to get onto Medicaid. The financial piece of that is done at the state level, so we just do the functional piece of that. In addition, in Coffee County, we do the intellectual and developmentally disabled assessments. In Coffee, Osage, and Franklin County, we do those. So we are the CDDO for those 3 counties in the state, which means, in essence, that we work with people ages 0 through 100 years old. Cover most every population there is. A lot of what we do is answer questions, try to help people get onto services when they need services, refer them to other places when we can't provide the service. We, in Coffee County, we estimate we probably touch about 2,000 people in a year, and again, across all age ranges. The stories that we put in here about really the types of services that we do for elderly people, sometimes it's just as simple as getting a person a meal. Sometimes it's as simple as having somebody come in and clean their house, clean their toilets. There happened to be an interesting story that we call helping a veteran. All that person really needed was a little more guidance, and hooked up with another veteran, was getting meals anyway, but what they really needed was more like a friendly visitor. So we were able to do that. If a person can't stay in their home any longer, then the state and the federal government requires them to have what they call a care assessment. And that's a 2-page assessment. Basically, it's just declaring that you can no longer live at home, and here's the type of support you do or do not have. The purpose of the assessment is not really to allow you into the nursing facility, because obviously you can go to a nursing home if you're private pay anytime you want, whether you're healthy or not healthy. It is for the purpose of Medicaid, because within the first year, most people who enter a nursing home end up exhausting all their resources and get on Medicaid, so the federal government wants to make sure you're qualified. And many nursing facilities simply won't take you if you're on Medicaid, so they want to know ahead of time what's going to happen with you. So we do a lot of care assessments. That first story is about a family who was trying to make a decision on whether to put mom in the nursing facility or not. And so we do the assessment, and then we also talk, if we think it's possible to bring in some extra services so she can stay at home longer, then we talk about that, and then the family makes the decision. The filling all her needs, again, like I said, we do a lot of small things, and in this one, it happened to be through a program that's called Senior Care Act, and that is our state-funded program. That program is a copay program, and it's based on your income and your assets. So any service we provide, there is a copay. This particular person had a 10% copay. One of the things, they were getting Meals on Wheels, but then they were unable to pay for their incontinence supplies, so we ordered $200 worth of incontinence supplies. Later on, she needed a washer and a dryer, so we used some of our Senior Care Act funds to get her a washer and a dryer. And then she had a very bad pest control problem that nobody seemed to be able to solve, so we got pest control in there for a few months. And all of that, Senior Care Act paid for part of it, 90% of it, but she paid for the other part. If it's a federal program, there's no copay. It doesn't matter. You can have lots of money, no money. It's a donation-based program, so that's the difference between the two. And then the story about Making It Right is about our SHIC program, our Senior Health Insurance Counseling Program. We always highlight it because we get so many people who call and are having problems with their insurance companies, or they're just turning 65 and don't know what they need to sign up for. Do I need Part A? Do I need Part B? What do I need? Do I need a supplemental? So this is just a story about how Leslie, who's our expert on Medicare, how she helped a person solve a problem with their insurance company. When I came last year, we had just taken over as a direct service the meals program because Mid-America Nutrition Program had dissolved. At that point in time, we'd been running it for 3 months, and I wasn't sure exactly where we were. So now we've run it for 1 year and 3 months, and we are a whole lot better off than we were a year ago, I can tell you that. I think we made great strides in that first year. And you know, it takes several years when you take over a business that, has financial issues. It takes you a couple of years to get it straightened out and get it on solid ground. But I think we made a lot of headway. We still have to work on it, but I think the quality of our meals is very good. If you don't eat at a nutrition site, I would encourage you to. We have them at Lebo, Waverly, and Burlington. So go down, have a meal, see what you think of the food, let me know. We're always trying to improve it. We have a different food service manager. We have a complete turnover of all the cooks. We've had a complete turnover of all the van drivers. So it's really kind of a new company out there. But we are trying to do the best job we can, so we need the feedback from people. So that's kind of where we are.
I'm from Leroy and the Meals on Wheels, you know, fantastic program for the service it provides. My wife's involved in it as well as 4 or 5 other ladies. But there's some inconsistencies on delivery of meals in Leroy. An hour or two difference on different specific days. I don't know the details, but you might want to check, because there are absolutely some inconsistencies, you know, and we know Leroy's on the tail end. We know there's gonna be some time, but the inconsistencies are too far apart.
Well, and the other piece, if we're running late, if we had a person that we could call to say we're really running late, because I know your volunteers come in and pick them up. So I'll check, because it's our van driver who, after he drops things off in Burlington, then goes down there. So there is some control there, at least about letting other people know what's going on. So yeah, I will.
The last
check that
couple of
one
weeks,
back.
there was even one time, is there at 9 o'clock or 9:30 or 10 in the morning, they run early. So they must have run the route reverse too.
Don't know what happened that day. That never should have happened at all.
1 day or 2 days, I'm not
Okay,
gonna answer that.
okay.
If you don't mind, check into it.
Sure, I will definitely
Or I can
check.
have my wife talk to you too.
Yeah, that would be fine. Any questions about what we do?
My mother-in-law gets Meals on Wheels, and she's not complaining, so.
Good. Oh, let me know if she wants to complain. Anything else?
Thanks for coming down.
You're very
Thank
welcome.
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, thanks.
Connie, you ready?
Morning, guys.
Good
Morning, Connie.
I would like, you all know that we had a retirement in our office and want to replace her. And I have told you before, I'm gonna combine those 2 positions. I have another one retiring this year. And so I would like to get somebody trained on the one that already left and can also train on the one that's gonna be leaving. Was wondering if I could go ahead and do that. That answer. I mean, do you have any questions?
I think you need to have someone trained when the others are gone, so.
That's why I'd like to have somebody in here now.
I have no problem with it. I
Right.
mean, what were we talking, 30 days or something?
I don't know for sure when the other ones, but the one that already left has a lot of training on that position that needs to be done. So that could give us extra time to do that, and then, the other one can be training a new person also.
You're talking about training employees that's already on staff.
I have one that we have had to train on, the one that's getting ready to retire this year. But we're trying to get a new person in and have people that, more than one person train on that job.
So you're ready to advertise
I'm
for
ready
the
to
position?
advertise, yeah.
Right.
I was trying to decide if I want to do it in-house or so if anybody in county wanted to put in, but I think I'm gonna put it out for everybody, and that way I can do it all at once.
No, there at one time I visited with you here, probably been a year, possibility of reducing the staff.
Right, and that's why instead of 2 full-time
Okay.
positions, I'm
Just
trying to
do
make 1 full-time position.
I'm hoping that's what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing.
Okay.
I wouldn't have any problem with it. Need what you need.
The more diversified your employees are, the better the
That's
department.
what I'm trying to do, yeah. So, okay, I will advertise, thank you guys.
ahead of schedule, if you're ready, Rhonda.
Sure.
Well, I hope you've had time to read the letter that I submitted to Donna about supporting the daycare center that's proposed.
Yep.
It's under 930,
I'm sorry.
930, the tab.
I don't have it.
That's our road and bridge under our 930.
What letter is it? Support for what, Ronnie?
The daycare center for 240 US.
We already did that.
To approve.
We already did that.
I was
To
wanting to
approve
give,
funds for 244.
to take funds out of
There's a
my,
motion to contribute $10,000.
to go towards the cash match.
Keep going, see if it's back there.
10 o'clock, or my was.
I talked to Craig Marshall this morning,
Sorry.
and he said the grant is going to be for $250,000 that they're writing it for. So this isn't even going to take care of the 5% cash match, but it will go a long ways towards it.
You know, we've already approved part of that, and the motions are separated because someone, it's under,
It was our letter of support that
yeah,
was.
it wasn't
our letter.
for
This is-
money.
And I had a couple of questions, probably should have asked them at that time, but, and we've got an obligation to do everything we can for all of our kids, regardless of the age. It says there are 600 children under 6 years of age, and childcare facilities is only serving 227,
And that was some of Lindsay's facts.
and if they can serve another 63 children with another 12, 15 new jobs, and whether you could answer that, or how do they arrive at those numbers?
You'd have to ask Lindsay.
Okay. And I have no problem supporting the program. I mean, I just had some questions, and I didn't know whether Lindsay was one to ask on that, or whether it might have been Craig Marshall.
Craig or Lindsay.
Superintendent of schools here at 244, and I hadn't made any phone calls to follow up on it.
Lindsay was supposed to come up with me, but she had another meeting. But do I have your support to give this letter to them?
Did they ask for this?
They asked for a letter of support.
So we did the letter of support.
This is a letter of support from me, from Economic
Okay, I
Development.
mean, so, did they ask for 10,000,
No.
or are you just saying 10,000?
I'm just saying 10,000. We have it in the budget,
Okay,
and I would be in support of even helping Waverly's daycare, the school daycare, if they come in and ask for it. And so we're not just keeping it just for 244.
Right.
well,
I
just
sat
wanted-
on that meeting, and I really don't remember how they came up with those numbers. I know they did a lot of research on it.
There's requirements for numbers of people to supervise certain numbers of kids of a certain age group. But,
And-
yeah.
I know about that.
And they're taking them from like 2 weeks of life to all the way up.
It's not easy to come up with, but there's a definite formula
There
for
is a
figuring that
formula.
number, and, yeah, it's,
My only concern is 10,000 enough? I mean, are they gonna come back and ask for maybe more?
I know they're visiting with other businesses.
Since they didn't ask for the 10, do we need to wait and see what they really would be asking? If they maybe more? I mean, instead of giving 10, then they come back and say, well, we'd like to have this, maybe we need to have a figure,
I know I talked to Craig and he was happy with the 10.
he was happy with it?
Mhm.
If
If I
he's
could get
happy
it
with it,
approved.
I'm happy with it, so. I mean, it's a start for them,
Mhm.
and maybe that's what they need, is just a start up to get it started.
And this is something we don't have to do ourselves, we can just help them, assist them.
So,
so there's a motion to approve $10,000 for USD 244 to go towards the cash match requirements of the ECBG grant and the letter of support to the Kansas Children's Cabinet for daycare, early childhood education, with funds to come from the Economic Development Special Expenditures,
We had fund there, expenditures.
expenditure fund.
I'll make that motion.
Tom moves. For a second.
yeah, I think maybe the motion, I'd like to say, move to approve on the recommendation of Economic Development Director. We can throw the kudos out there to where it goes.
The interim?
Interim, yeah, interim. Yeah.
Interim or not, you're the director today.
Yeah, that's true.
You're the director. You're the director.
So everything's cool?
Yeah, we have voted.
We're gonna
Okay.
vote on it, but
Okay.
Angie's got the
I'm
changes.
good.
Okay.
Angie making the correction on it.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Carries 4-0.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Rhonda.
We're right on schedule if you're ready.
Yes, you know.
How are you this morning?
I'm good, how are you guys?
All good, Angie.
And everybody not wearing Chiefs jerseys or anything?
I thought my last red
Last
shirt.
week, last
Yeah.
I got red on. I got red on. I know, I should have.
Super Bowl.
I
Wore it all
know.
last week.
You're getting it washed,
You
ready
would've
for
went to
for
Academy
the.
Sports, you'd have probably been in line about 4 or 5 hours. They had several pallets they were gonna sell.
Oh, really?
If they hadn't one, they're gonna ship it all back. San Francisco shipping theirs back.
Oh, crazy. Well, unfortunately, I was not here, in an emergency, and I wasn't here for the renewal. But, there were some follow-up questions that you guys had, and so, I'm gonna give you these handouts, and we'll just go along them real quick. There's just 6 questions. Wanted to touch base with you guys on that, and any actions, if you wanted to move forward with them or not. As you know, with your insurance policy, you can change it at any point and given time throughout the year, so you can make any endorsements, or changes or deletions. So real quickly, I'll go over, the first question I believe there was in regards to the garden shed on 110 South 6th, Building 2. It was valued under a $5,000 deductible. And somebody asked how much it cost, I guess, to have it insured on the policy. Currently, we have it insured for $2,370. So I think it was one of those things, let's just be cost effective on it, do we really need to insure it? How much are we paying premium on it? You're paying, $4 a year. Just on that.
But why even pay for it if it's under deductible?
Absolutely. Only in a catastrophic loss.
Only, yeah, that's where it would come into.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. No, but again, these are just numbers that we're just giving back to you.
Randy's got his hand up.
Does that include content?
So.
No. That would be a separate.
Oh, does it, and for premium? Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so on the shed?
Yeah.
Out back, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that premium would include content?
Yeah.
What's the
$4.
value, what value would the contents be though?
$2,000 or $3,000. I don't know if it makes it cost
But
effective
again, you
or
would still be
not.
under your
I was thinking
$5,000
the shed over
deductible.
across the street.
This is
This is down 110 South 6th.
110 South 6th,
That's where we're at right now, but I don't know what the address is right over
Building
here.
2.
That wouldn't be 110.
Garden shed.
But that,
Maybe it's not my shed then.
I don't think it's your shed, Randy.
It
I
might
think
be the
it's
one
the
across
garden
the
shed
street.
across the
I'm
street.
sorry, I apologize.
okay.
So it is one set over here,
Mhm.
Bob.
So it's really not 110 then?
This is the address that we have on this shed. 110 South 6th.
Well, that would be
110 South.
Randy's shed. This one has to be a different address. That-
Okay.
It cannot be even numbered over there on that side of the street.
Yes,
So we have 2 of those sheds, in case you don't know
our
it.
shed should be under our
So-
address.
We have one here and we have one over there.
Okay.
But the one out back should be at 605, correct?
Yeah, ours will be 605 Neo show. So that could be 110 South 6th, depending on which way.
110's here. That's gotta be an even
Yeah.
number over there.
Oh, that's right.
Odd number over there.
All right, let me find out
I
what
think we had
garden
put this
shed
one
is.
on.
Huh?
I think we took that one off.
Yeah, because it was
Yeah.
under the value.
Right.
So let me find out what actual garden shed, I apologize, I wasn't here, so I will double check.
I realize
The
it's
actual-
only $4, but if we have a total catastrophe, you know, that little shed's not gonna make a bit, squat a bit of difference, so.
And would you even replace it then?
Right, so, yeah, to me, that's not,
If you were rebuilding,
it's
wouldn't you
only
rebuild
$4,
somewhere
but
that you would
that still is not,
locate that somewhere else?
it's money not spent.
Okay, the second question was, need to have value for the concrete floor, installed at location 5. I believe, we talked about that. So the estimated building valuation would go from 26,250 to 86,605. Now, that's based on a building calculator that's provided by the insurance company. And for current construction cost, and then with the additional concrete slab. So it increases the premium, it'd give you an increase of $112 for that.
Increase of, or that's the total premium?
The estimate, I'm sorry, I'm looking at her notes.
Yeah.
So it was increased from 26,250 to 86,605, but your estimated annual premium will be $112 for that building with concrete floor.
For the whole building,
Yes.
not just the concrete.
Right.
Okay.
And then I guess there was a question for the antenna at location 8. Property in the open, the antenna was valued at $1,200, over in Lebo, and then also the one at Gridley, and the premium for both of those is $2. Again, it's underneath your deductible,
Yeah, I mean,
so,
if something happens at Gridley, it's not, we're not in the two, I realize it's only $2, but it's still taxpayer money that we're spending for something that we'll probably never get anything back from. So,
and that's 3 and 4, question's 3 and 4, the one in Lebo and then the one in Gridley.
So my thinking is with the great catastrophe, and if you hit Lebo, Gridley, and Burlington, same, you know, we got a lot of things to worry about besides the antenna.
Right, yep,
So, I'm not in favor of it.
okay.
Just go ahead and take it off.
I'll take it off.
List all 3 of those.
Yeah, I would,
Shed.
Two and two.
I'm favorable of all 3 of those.
When you say 3, you're talking about the
The
second
first,
one?
the first, the
Yeah.
first, third, and fourth.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wanna continue the building out of landfill.
And then the last one is business income. I believe this came up at the, last meeting. We have your business income, obviously, you're gonna have taxpayer dollars coming in no matter what. But what business income gives you as, any business or, an entity, municipality, it actually gives you extra expense for relocation. So with that, it could provide up to $500,000 for extra expense, for locations of operations potentially lost. So you would still have your, insurance money that you would get from the buildings. This is just helping you with relocation costs,
Relocation.
temporary relocation cost. And that would be $638, additional $638 in annual premium, giving you $500,000 for extra expense of relocation, not permanent build. That would be in your building, contents and everything, you would have that, but if you needed a temporary relocation, this is where that would give you extra money.
I brought that question up because when we had the inline hurricane, we had a huge loss at the co-op,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a loss in place for loss of income.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized the value that really comes up, and the premium cost is very, very minimum for what you recover.
Right.
So to me, it's something we need to take a serious look at. Because if we gotta relocate someplace else, that relocation, if you have a loss here, you may be relocating for at least 12 months or maybe longer.
Right. If you were to rebuild the courthouse and you were to be relocated somewhere else. Mm-hmm.
Instead of half was pretty slim, but also $638 isn't a lot of money. To the possibility to recover $500,000.
Well, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a tornado, it could be a fire.
Yeah, it could be anything.
That the structure is still here, but it could be a fire and you still have to relocate.
That's one I'd probably like to see put in place. I've been involved in it a couple different times. I know Now, you hope you never use it, when you use it, come in for a hand, but.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes we get trying to get too overprotective. That's just my opinion. We think insurance is the answer for everything. And I understand what Don says, but I guess it's up to.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I would just like to comment on the fact that, like, our office, if we had to relocate, it would be a major ordeal, major. And people can't wait to tag vehicles.
Yeah.
Same thing with us, I mean, something we don't see on the outside looking in necessarily, but we had to relocate dispatch. The amount of fiber involved could be catastrophic amount of money, because you're dealing with outside vendors.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, the $500,000 that brought up pretty quick.
So it wouldn't take long to get that eat up. And that's just the side that we don't, I guess, think about.
I say leave it in place.
You'd have to add it, you'd have to add it for $638 a year.
I know I've got insurance for insurance, seems like, but.
I know.
But you know, if something does happen, some of those policies that you have written for me, that, you know, if I ever bid, I have to use it, but if I have to use it, then it would be very, very, very beneficial.
No, I would be in favor of having the business income coverage.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, but that's, again, hopefully you never need it, but if you have to have it, then be advantageous.
Actually, it's only $630.
There you go.
They told us all was already paying for insurance, even though it's taxpayers' money, it's a very insignificant dollar amount of our total policy premium.
Mr. Chairman? Yeah, also, I'd like to add that, I'm working with Angela and Trust Point and Bobby, I think is who we've been working with, at looking at the cost for insurance on, I have an officer that's a licensed pilot, and a very competent, qualified pilot, and we've actually used him for, the flooding and different things like that, as well as he could be utilized for many things, but we're gonna have to, be advantageous to have the insurance coverage, one, for liability, two, workman's comp. But we're working on trying to get those numbers to see if it's cost prohibitive. If it is, it is, but to see what those numbers are. We got some preliminary numbers, but we're not there yet, and when I get that, I'll be bringing that back in just for you guys to weigh in on what you guys think and stuff. But it wouldn't be just for law enforcement. It could be used for emergency management. It could be used for road and bridge. You know, there's a number of things that we could do. The airport has the aircraft, and we're able to rent it at a very low cost and use it. So that's just something I'd throw out there that's currently in the works. And they've been awesome to work with, because it's taken them a lot of time and research to figure it out. So.
Yeah, any other questions in regards to?
So just to clarify, we're leaving 2 and 5.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you for your time, Scott.
Might I add, you sound like I don't know how many people in my office.
I know.
Oh, it's just horrible.
It's brutal.
They can't get over it, it just hangs on. Hey, Donna, Wade sent you a
We'll take a
letter.
break.
emailed you a letter to put on, so we put it on county email, or
Oh, did he get
Sorry.
it?
county letterhead,
One of
yeah.
them or three?
I got two of them,
Okay.
and then he emailed one that he did a major change to, so that we can get Cody to sign them, yeah. I doubt that very much work gets done around Kansas City this week.
I just heard it Saturday.
Can you imagine standing out there on Wednesday, one that's gonna be colder than shit, but trying to get a spot to where you can even see anything?
There ought to be something out there if deputies mow for so long.
I just soon sit at home watching on TV.
Right.
Yeah, honestly.
Have you heard anything about people looking at the golf course?
Hmm?
I did, Saturday.
I look at it, yeah, when I look back, oh, they mowed it!
Two guys, somewhere around Kansas City, they go around and buy old golf courses and fix them back up.
I tell you, the best thing they could do with that golf course, if they were gonna do it, turn it into a smaller 18-hole par 3 golf course. You don't see a lot of them around here, and everybody loves to play them.
I just want a golf course.
But they're all, it's called an executive par 3, it's an executive golf course, and they're all par 3s.
He hasn't sent it yet.
Oh, he hadn't?
No, but he said he would.
Okay.
Right.
And they're popular as hell up around the cities and stuff, just because you can.
How tall are those strokes?
You know, you can walk them, and they're short, and you got them split up, so you can play 9 holes, be done, or you can play that whole 18. But 18.
I made them 30 inches is what they should be.
You can fit those.
Should be 30.
It's just gonna take money.
Yeah, everybody likes the
But it's
plan.
3 foot from top of slab to bottom of footing.
Yeah.
But it costs money now with those grants, like it.
Okay.
Go
that'd be
to
my fault.
Hilton and Margaritaville,
Did
the
you guys,
Dyer.
did you guys watch the big
That's
game?
all right.
Yeah.
Some of them, part of it.
Off and on. It began to anger me.
I was getting a little worried there, wondering when they were gonna kick in, you know, that last minute.
Yeah, when San Francisco scored that last touchdown, they all did a big group deal at the end of the game.
Yeah.
I was like, their momentum's going pretty hard, it's gonna be tough.
They
One thing
came
through
through.
two interceptions all year.
Yeah.
Threw 2 of them back to back. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is not going well.
Yeah, this is gonna hurt.
He just wasn't his normal self, I don't think.
Pressure got to him. I think.
Well, you're right, I mean,
He's 24 years old.
Yeah, what's a big deal?
Living up to the height that they've got him under is difficult for him.
yeah, but he's grown up in it. I mean, his dad played baseball, and he played Major League Baseball, and
He's a good kid. I try to find something I
I bet
like
that's
about
first
him.
time in history
He's a good kid.
that,
They said he went into someplace. to eat
Super
with
Bowl
his
winner
girlfriend
came
the
to
other
double
day.
digit
And, when he left,
points
they
down
said nothing to
in
him.
every game.
Nobody
But
pounded
it's
him.
never happened before season.
And when he left, I
The
think
announcers never said it.
Yeah.
I don't think I heard.
But Mahomes didn't have a good first 3 quarters. He didn't have a lot of time to do things either.
One of the stats was Williams was the only player to have a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown and over 100 yards.
Yep.
Heard that
In
on
the
the
Super
radio.
Bowl. Yeah.
well, even the way Mahomes was running yesterday, he stopped. He was headed for the goal line and stopped. He usually doesn't do that.
Well, everybody on the Chiefs team.
So was
Tracy
Hill.
Kelsey did
Hill
it,
was
Hill
too.
did it. It's like, just keep running.
Mhm.
That cost us a few first downs.
They thought they were gonna make a big play, I guess.
But we didn't need them, so it doesn't matter. We didn't need them. We ended up fine the way it was.
Well,
I think
They were
whenever
just
they
waiting
get
for the
that
fourth
long
quarter to
40-yarder,
come out.
I think is what opened it up for them.
Yeah.
They got their confidence back somehow out of that.
Well, they changed the play call. First half, their playing call was all short play calls. And finally decided they had to open it up. They didn't have any, I don't think they had any downfield passing over 20, 30 yards that first play, or first half. Pretty conservative.
And well, Mahomes wasn't hitting it there. Even his little floaters to the outside, he wasn't hitting.
He wasn't.
behind or in front, yeah.
too
But
close.
when he got on, he was pretty
He
tough.
was.
When he got his confidence up, he could do anything.
I think his confidence was there. I don't know if he was a little gunshot, maybe, I don't know. At least they won, that's all that matters.
That's right.
The play of the game to me was when Kansas City punted the ball, and them two Kansas City boys were down there, and that one caught it, and it almost caught it in the end zone. I don't know how he got there so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, that kid was moving.
Well,
That's what they get paid for.
I know.
They're extremely fast.
that,
He was.
you know, the hang time on most of their punts are 5 seconds, 5.5. They can move 50 yards in that period of time, so. I'm surprised he didn't bat it back out and they get the ball on the 2-yard line.
He was trying.
But he didn't get it done.
That's what he was trying.
Bill can damn near run that twice.
Yeah.
He was trying.
Those hang times almost come at a long time.
4.2. Yeah, yeah.
They're fast.
Wings and.
Yeah, I saw Wayne in Wayne's
Wayne
office.
did that in.
Right.
He should be here shortly.
You don't want
Sign these tax reimbursements, and then we'll have a correction and paycheck from Road
Actually, I run the house.
Yeah, not that the public really cares who's sitting in the audience.
Right.
Just made this thing. Let's talk. Got you with your mouth full? I said I got you with your mouth full?
I don't know what I did to my shoulder. It's been bothering me for years. It really flared up over the weekend. I mean, I thought I was gonna have to go to ER Friday night. Horrible.
Couldn't see my mother-in-law, she's got drugs.
I can take one a leave and sleep for 12 hours, so.
Oh, wow.
I don't normally do pain pills.
Yeah, I don't either.
And ibuprofen is.
Wade or Wayne give you any indication of how long they were gonna be in there? Let them know, if not, well, Randy took off too, so.
Yeah.
You'll be back. You're here. You know what.
Randy was going to get coffee.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. What is it they say, the Monday after the Super Bowl's
The
one of the most, if not the most, unproductive days of the year?
Talking about making it a holiday or a day off of work, whatever.
Yeah, we're missing 3 out of 10. 30%.
Good morning.
Morning.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Can you believe this weather we've had?
Wait till tomorrow.
And then we're gonna have the snow tomorrow, 30 degrees. But it won't be on. There is a positive note if you can find it.
True.
That is true. Appreciate that.
It'll be during the day.
Yeah, during the day for the most part. I have a few things, but I'll just jump right into the report, and I have some talking points afterwards. And then I'd also be going into executive session I've been visiting with Wade on, so Wade will help us on that motion. No road permits, no zoning permits, nothing to report at this point on landfill, but we will be visiting about free dump week here probably next week or two, and getting something scheduled for that. Requesting the bids, or the motions would be to request bids on the liquid asphalt. I'll be available to answer any questions or discussion. And then the deputy zoning subdivision administrator, and then acquiring more material for the salt that we're needing for de-icing. And so with that, we'll talk about construction zone as well. But the first motion would be to approve purchase of the liquid asphalt. And so,
You're gonna solicit.
that's soliciting bid, yes, sir.
To go out and bid for it.
Right, and then once we get the bids, we'll bring the bids back, and then there'd be a motion to approve the bid that goes along with it. Last year, for example, Avon Asphalt, we had $1.99 for the RS1M. That'd be our chip seal oil. And Vance Brothers was $2.12, but we had 3 bidders here last year. But using those numbers that we had for the liquid asphalt last year, what we'll be looking at is somewhere around $670,000, $700,000.
How many barrels or gallons this year versus last year? What are we
Uh,
quoting this year?
At this point, what we have is 286,000 gallons. And then last year, we had an approximate, quite a bit more onto it. I'd have to double check it. But we had over 400,000 gallons last year. So, but we were not able to finish last year either.
Right.
Yeah, so that's sized back, but that's it.
So motion 2020-04, based upon the recommendation of the county engineer, move to approve the county engineer's request to solicit bids for liquid asphalt for the 2020 chip seal program.
So moved.
Don moves,
Second.
Tom seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Carries 4-0.
Okay, and the next one, what we have is the deputy zoning administrator. The last motion that we had would have put me as deputy zoning administrator until about the middle of this month. But with other things going on, and we periodically do this occasionally, thought it would be best just to go ahead and put this one in, and just, she'll always have, I'll always be there to help and assist where I can. But just by having this, it always covers that second chair per se. And so it does not have an ending period onto it, this particular motion. This would just be continued.
I thought you were anyway.
Well, yeah.
Even though we did it, when we did temporary, I thought you were anyway, her backup.
I always was, but this way it officially becomes part of the motion.
Motion 2020-05, based upon recommendation of the zoning and subdivision administrator and approval of the county attorney as to form, move to appoint county engineer Wayne Blackburn as deputy zoning and subdivision administrator.
Make that motion.
All moves. Is there a second?
Second.
All seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Carries 4-0.
Okay, the last motion I have is for salt. What we have is Knights Trucking. Back in March of last year, we had bid for $51 delivery for per ton for salt. 1,500 tons is the contract. And now, we're still keeping the contract, but at this point, he's delivered just shy of 1,000 tons. But we're also looking at continuing, needless to say, just to fill up our salt shed. So our salt supply is a little low. We're under half as far as the salt shed. The salt shed itself is 1,400 tons capacity for the most part, without having a conveyor type system to allow it to stack more in the top of it. So all we're able to do there is just push it up. So we're not able to get the height that we'd really like to have, but it served us well. It continues to serve us well. What we're finding too is our salt right now is the mines have shut off other haulers, what I've heard, and they're only hauling or allowing salt to be sold to the state, KDOT. And so right now, KDOT's the one that's getting it. Now, I haven't checked that. This is just from one source that I've heard that. And so at this point, Osage and Line, I'm not for sure. But we have enough salt, providing we have the light storms. The one that we really use a lot of salt on is our ice storms. And so on our ice, it takes much more of the salt product to be able to get the ice off. But with these more mild storms, we still need to apply it, but we don't have to apply it at the rate that we would for ice. So it makes it a little better, but we have also had, I believe it was 6 storms so far over 90 days of using product out there. And so material used, that includes also the chips, that we use. 1,830 tons so far that we've used on chip, just for the storms that we've had this year, so.
Why are you needing a motion when we have a contract with Knight Trucking?
Right now, Knight's not able to get the additional 500 tons. I'm not voiding the contract, but I'm just saying that if there's anybody else out there that we can go ahead and get some salt with, and we have two contracts kind of overlapping a little bit, this would give an opportunity for others to say that they could provide us some salt, and that we could get some bids on. And so that's why we're going just a little bit further. He's not able to get the salt. But we still have 500 tons left in that contract that we worked with.
Previous, or history kind of said if he can't get salt, nobody gets salt, basically.
Well, and that's what I say back to the mines. The mines are not selling the salt, so, you know, we might not have anybody else that's able to
get them.
Right. But at least this way we could reach out a little bit, and if there is any salt out there, then this motion will allow us to enter into a contract with somebody that could provide us the salt. But now, of course, that will be brought back to you when we find that information or get that.
Because of the shortage of supply, if the bid comes back in at a higher rate, you've got the right to reject any and all bids, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is basically the plan B, to make sure we don't get caught. I mean, it is possible, it is February, and 1,000, we say we're about 1,000 left in the stockpile, 1,000 ton, or?
We wouldn't have, I'd hate to put a number with it, but I think we're setting fairly well, as long as we continue to have maybe not too many more, not very many, can't say the word, that we wouldn't have more storms than what we're already expecting. Hopefully the groundhog is correct, and we're going to see an early spring. So
the contract with Knight, when does that end?
It ends when the supply is finished. So 500 tons would be where that contract would end. That's how we had done it last time as well, Bob.
So we're not expecting another bid from Knight then, because they're already in the program?
Well, that's not to say we won't get bids from Knights, because we're continuing to add to the volume, okay? This is also going to give us, once again, the big plan B is to allow us to see if anybody else has any salt and what that price would be. And then if it is reasonable, something that we could utilize, then we would, award the bid.
As of right now, with 500 tons.
I cannot get 500 tons, and I haven't discussed to...
Would it fill us up? I mean...
No, it would not.
Right, so either way, we're gonna end up needing more salt to be ready for next year.
That's right, and it continues into 2020 as far as supply. I mean, that was the reason for that storage shed, was to basically have it to be able to be utilized for the following year as well.
Motion 2020-06, based upon recommendation of the county engineer, move to approve the county engineer's request to solicit formal bids for seasonal restocking and de-icing salt material to be delivered to the county shop. Purchase of the de-icing salt shall be paid from the Road and Bridge Fund.
I'll make that motion.
Tom moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Tom seconds. Any further discussion?
Yeah. I would definitely want to have Wayne talk to Knight and tell them the only reason we are doing this is because it's not available from them. I mean, I think we need to make an explanation to them. This is the only reason we are doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as they understand that, because we have a contract with them, and I don't want them to think we're trying to go out and undercut their contract. So I want you to visit with them and make sure they understand that the only reason is because they can't produce.
Yes. I will.
And I think that's a very good suggestion. But they also must recognize we gotta protect our backside too.
And I have visited with him actually last week, so, he's aware that all we're trying to do is seek, salt, be able to put more salt into our storage shed at this point. Since he's at a point that he cannot provide the salt, he understands it. But once again, I am not able to, get any pricing unless I get this approved and then be able to move forward. And, as the motion says, it is for seasonal, stockpiling or restocking of material, so we're using it as that as well.
Sounds like you've already talked to him, so as long as he understands that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0.
All right, this is construction zone.
All funds to it.
Oh, in the construction zone, as you see, depending upon the weather, what we can and can't do, but this is our plan for this week. So as we can do the bridge deck repair over on 28th, contrary to Dobbin, that particular one, a couple of weeks back, we had a hole develop. There was an L channel that was basically removed at the abutment, and material was falling through. And so we had put some plate down to protect the hole that was developing at that point. We are continuing to cut brush as we need. Our main focus right now for this week is as the road conditions allow, we are going out and fixing or working on the roads. As I pointed out, that we've had several storms that for 960-some miles of gravel roads has been somewhat problematic, but it seems to happen, we have this problem every year, is when we have all this moisture and we have all the freezing, the thawing, it's bringing the moisture up, and then as the road is being utilized, folks are still traveling on the road, then it brings the fines to the top. It's not to say, people say, well, we don't have gravel. We do have gravel, it just brings the fines to the top, no different than concrete. You could pat concrete and you're going to bring the fines to the top and the moisture, and that's really kind of what you're doing here as well. And what we've done is in the spring we would open those up. We would use our scarifiers, open that up, and we bring the gravel back up to the top. But you can't do that at this point. Is what you're trying to do is fix the worst spots. So we are spotting in, hauling gravel at this point. We have all of our trucks out there, plus all of our blade operators, plus an additional blade operator. Ryan's even jumping into a blade. We have 7 trucks out, 9 blades. We're working on once again, we have 960-some miles. It's not going to happen overnight. We're going to get the worst ones that we can see right now. And even at that, it's not to say that we're getting all the worst ones. We're identifying what we can for the resources that we have available. So, we're over on Oxnard between 17th and 23rd. We're over there on Planter between 4 and 5. We're north of 58, north around the Oxon area. So those are some of the things that we're working on, but as the storm comes in, possibly as early as Tuesday, we'll be hauling brome, salt brome, brine out on the asphalt roads as early as tomorrow morning. So that'll take some of the trucks out of the fleet. And so that's what we're working on at this point. And the other thing I have is some discussion has come up about some driveway work that we were working on here last week, and what we have is in our entrance policy, our culvert policy, we if a landowner requests an entrance, we'll put in the entrance. We're one of the few counties in the state that does. Without charge is we'll put in an entrance that includes the pipe, the material, the work, the equipment, everything associated with it, putting in that entrance. The only thing that we do have is anything that's larger than a 36-inch diameter size pipe that the landowner would pay the additional charge, but we still put in the pipes and the entrances, so all of our costs. And so what that means is everything from fence to fence, right-of-way to right-of-way, is the area that we work in. Now, we also update drives. It's not to say that we can update every drive in the county, but we try to identify the ones that are causing us problems, meaning that material's coming out on the road, making it unsafe. So, for example, we had one here last week. It was over on Shetland, just north of 12th, and that material was actually coming out of the drive. It was washing the drive, and so Doug had found some material. It was 1.25 inch rock, and he also, that was dry, that had some fines into it that we could get some compaction. And so this is the work that we had done. This is the finished work. Now, the piles that you'll see behind the gate are not our rock piles. Those are actually the landowners. They're working on their road further back, but these are some of the photos that go along with that drive. And as I say, it's common for us to work from right-of-way to right-of-way. It's not to say that we get every drive in the county, because you could just imagine the number of drives that we have in 960 some miles of gravel roads. And this is on an asphalt road, so now if you take our total 1,200 miles of roads and all the drives and entrances that go along with them, we try to address the ones that we can. We also address the drives when we're doing, asphalt. So when we add asphalt, we have, or we will actually come back and put gravel at that drive entrance, because most of the time there's a lip that we need to take care of. So the other one is just to give you another example of another drive.
Is there even a 10 whistle on that one, or a culvert, or is that the top of a hill?
I believe that's the top of the hill.
Yeah, so I don't think there's a culvert involved in that.
No, but the drive is still the same. I mean, what we're experiencing there is wash that was coming out on the drive. And once again, we're not charging, from our policy that actually was approved in 2000, February the 14th of 2000. We're not charging the landowner on these drives, so we still do the work between the right-of-way fences. Another example is this one here. This is on 11th between I and J. Is on this particular drive is, it just starts deteriorating, and then once again, if we start getting material out on our road, then we have to address it. And so we work with or partner with the landowner, but we still take care of the material and the work associated with everything within the right-of-way. But this would be now this one was not repaired at this point, but it is scheduled to be repaired. And so it's, once again, it's not uncommon for us to work within our right-of-way, but what we're trying to address is the safety aspect of our road surface, is to say that these drives do cause a problem occasionally, or some of the drives do cause a problem occasionally that need to be addressed. And so we work within our right-of-way to take care of it.
You got these pretty good-sized rocks over this to deal with.
Yes, well, what you're seeing there is basically as you have traffic coming in and out, that rock wasn't exposed, but now the rock becomes exposed because the material, the mud, starts developing around there, starts pumping. So we have several, like I say, there's several locations. I couldn't even get you a count of how many drives that we have in our county that require attention, and there's some of them that's been requiring attention for years, And that's the reason why I brought this list is, we have a list that's 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of areas that we need to address. Now, person says, well, why is it so long? Well, each one of them requires some work, and we can only manage what we can with the resources that we have available. And as we're doing that work, then we do put a priority with it, and that would be safety. So we're approaching it as what can we do to make it safer, and then also too, what's our cost? And we had this discussion here last week, and that was that one where we had that ditch, and we put some back slope material to keep that water from washing the rock away on the road. So it's not uncommon for us. If anything, we actually do more than most other counties, working within our right of way. And so, and we're also keeping in mind too, ag. And so we're trying to do everything we can, because we know at times that ag is trying to get in the fields and coming out of the fields, and we're trying to address that as well. But that would be just information that there is a policy onto it. We do work within our right of way. We do not charge landowners, but we try to work it within safety and costs that we have associated with the county. Other work that we're working on is load ratings. We're going to have some more load ratings on bridges that I'll be bringing before you in the next week or two. I'm working with a consultant right now on the 6 bridges, and I'm also tying in those the bridge there in Burlington, and that would be those deck repairs that we're trying to get scheduled. Also working on the consultant Cook Platte to get the community planning proposal before you, so we continue to work on that. And then we also have the landfill plans that I should be sending up this week to KDHE, and that would be to start the process on cell number 4. So once I get approval with KDHE on that, is what we're going to see then is a series of motions to start going to the bidding process for the liner. Also, we'll have a motion that will require a third-party inspector, as required by KDHE, to be part of the building or construction of cell number 4. And so we'll have that one going as well. We have a couple applications that are coming up with KDOT, and that would be the cost share. And so the last discussion we had, my approach is we've looked at 15%. Now we're looking at, my understanding, that we're willing to go 25%. And the big push on this one is 75 highway with the acceleration, deceleration lanes. Also expansion of a second lane north of town here in Burlington. And so those are all the things that we're working on as well. Here last week, we've been working with the utility as far as right-of-way and a surveyor out of Kansas City too. So at this point, that's my report, and if Wade's available, then I would ask, unless you have some questions.
He was in the doorway a few seconds.
Yes, then I'd be ready to move forward.
The city of Burlington said they'd be interested in acquiring one of your trucks if you're gonna replace one.
Yes.
I don't know if Mark spoke to you, but.
I spoke with Mark here last week, and so we got we know that they would like to have one of the trucks, so we're gonna keep that in mind when a truck becomes available. We're gonna do that. At this point, we did have that Kenworth, but we held the truck, but we're doing a few things to it. Kind of hard to explain or long to explain, so it's not necessarily going to be available for them at this point. But we also have trucks available if they'd like to borrow during the snow and ice, and I offered that to him as well, because we have a couple barrel beds that they could use that we don't use or we're not using, that they can move material to. He appreciated it, but he's really looking for a truck at this point. So.
Yep.
Okay. So, unless you have any questions on construction zone or anything that I've visited about at this point? Okay. Then, the next one would be, I'd ask Wade if he would help me, move into executive session for non-elected personnel.
And before we do that, can I just bring one thing up? The city, through the city attorney of Burlington, and the mayor, Stan Luke, has presented to me a bridge construction agreement that there was a dialogue earlier on, I guess late last year, in reference to the county providing financial assistance to take care of some bridges. I was provided the agreement, and then I had Wayne look at it to have him review it from an engineering perspective, just to see if it covered what he thought it needed covered. And it had a revision, and I think it's ready to go. So the only reason I'm bringing it up right now is in case Wayne wants to add any additional feedback as it relates to his observations of the agreement.
I think what you'll find is, as Wade has looked through it, as far as financial obligations, is, mine is to make sure that we've all agreed that the costs associated with the rebuilding of the one structure, and then also was the engineering, and inspection that would go with it. That would be all of our cost, the county's cost, to reimburse the city for, and that was what we've added to that agreement. So that should cover everything. Now, it will not cover the intersection, but I don't believe that they're going to be doing anything on the intersection, the last discussion that we had. But it will basically cover the cost of replacing that deck, doing some work to the beams, and then the engineering and inspection that we do with it.
So I only mention it because I'll be presenting it to the board for signature. So Wayne won't be here, and while he's here, I wanted to mention that.
Okay. And most likely that won't happen until next year, but.
So, based on my conversation with Wayne, I think he's requesting a motion for the commission to recess into executive session to protect the privacy rights of non-elected personnel pursuant to the non-elected personnel matters exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act, and that's KSA 75-4319 B1, and the topic to be discussed, I think, and Wayne can correct me if I'm wrong, includes personnel matters of non-elected personnel, considering evaluations of the personnel, but also to discuss potential performance issues regarding policy. And the only reason why I mention that is so that it's clear within the motion, not only is that statutory exception being cited, but also Kansas Attorney General Opinion 2009-21, which gives direction when the two issues are intertwined. So, and I don't know for how long and who you want in this particular meeting.
County Attorney, Commission, myself, and 20 minutes. Unless you want to break it up smaller, but since I have multiple.
I think
Wayne wouldn't have any trouble filling up 20 minutes.
Haven't in the past.
I'm glad from experience, yeah.
That's true. That's true.
So, Angie, do you have the motion?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion to enter into executive session with Wade, Wayne, and the commission for 20 minutes.
Make motion.
Tom moves.
Second.
Don seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. 4-0. Go in at 10:45 for 20 minutes.
10:65.
20 minutes. another 10:55 for February.
My mother-in-law actually did that. Turned the microwave, I bought her a new one for Christmas. It was 1 minute and 65 seconds, popped up 205 seconds, so that's not right. Yeah, I'm sorry, honey. It's off.
We're in.
Okay. Well, and we can talk about that in open session.
I'm not sure that's not something that we need to not think about.
Well,
Since he knows our stuff, and he can move to the project, whatever it is to do.
oh yeah,
I'm not sure that we can put him maybe on the next time.
well, let's talk about that.
It's a thought.
If you have just a few minutes, let's talk about it.
But I'm thinking, we're gonna have that problem one day, we're gonna have a fire out there somewhere.
Oh yeah, let's talk about
I
that.
don't know who's available and who's not.
You let me know.
Okay. Just think about that, we discuss it
Another time. Another
Think about that
time.
idea.
All right, another time.
Is that a different one?
I had just one other talking point. I would ask not to say that you have to answer this now, but if you would look at civil duty, as far as being able to pay employees, if it's your choice, your option. We have active military. I have at least one person's active military, and so they do the National Guard. And so there's different times that they're training, not just on the weekends, but like during the week where they'll have to go in and do that. There is that point where there is possibly where they are getting reimbursed for their time from the military. But currently, right now, in 8.10 on civil duty, we do pay employees for different things for time off that they're needing to do. And I would ask that if there's any consideration that the commission may look at civil duty to cover maybe not all the time off, but maybe a portion, some hours, when somebody has to go active duty, say at the National Guard, which would be like their routine type inspections and such as that, not the emergency call out, but when they're doing drill. Thank you. So just something to think about. I'll just leave the civil duty here. And I think Denise and I, our staff had some discussion with Denise here last week on.
We did, and I did bring it up to the commission that I was gonna talk to Wade about that, and
Oh, okay,
last week was a little hectic for him and I both, so we didn't get together on it, but,
If you could at least put that in your talking points, that's all I had then. And, thank you very much.
Thanks, Wayne. Have a good week.
Good luck with the weather.
Yes, yeah, we'll see what it does. We'll get a update report tomorrow.
You wanna go? So you can The only thing I would add to that civil duty thing, is just for talking points, is I've had National Guardsmen that have been deployed up to 12 months, on deployment. In fact, I had one last year, he was gone for a month, out to the National Training Center that he was required to go to. He used vacation time if he chose to. If not, he got paid by the military for those hours and actually made more money through the military and stuff. And then Troy Rogers, when he worked for me, he was deployed twice to the Middle East, and so.
yeah.
Let's see, our oldest I think they're getting ready to be deployed.
Yes, they are.
If they haven't already in the last week.
Right, and the guy I got is with that unit, but
Training down there, so.
he is actually retiring this spring, so he didn't have to go. So.
So to add to what Randy's just saying, I think we have always used vacation and not, just let them go and still be paid, so, but that's something Wade and I can look over and review that again, so.
First thing I have is the letters that we've been working on the architects for the proposed jail study. I'll go ahead and hand these out. These are a couple motions I threw together, and I ran them by Wade. And on it, it'll be a couple of issues that we'll be dealing with. But the first motion is with the architectural firm of GGA. And I decided to go ahead and type it up because I didn't figure you guys would be able to read my handwriting, so that was gonna be a failure. But basically, the motion is to, upon recommendation of the sheriff, approval of county attorney to direct the chairman to sign the related documents in regards to accepting the proposal of GGA architectural firm as it relates to a proposed jail study. What that's in regards to, I'll send them around, is we got one letter that would accept GGA as the architect, and then we have two rejection letters, one to Trenner Architects and one to HMN Architects, that says, that thanks them for their proposals and their time, and we decided to go another avenue with GGA. Those are the rejection letters there.
We read those. I think we.
Yeah, I think we did our proposal. I didn't change them any, so I guess.
I think we already had them.
I go ahead and,
That's the line that Wade
Yeah.
rewrote was the
and
top.
so Wade's looked at them, and so I guess we talked about maybe formalizing that in the form of a motion, if that's what you guys want. And so if we do have a meeting scheduled for Thursday at 1:30. Did you get that email?
I haven't checked this morning.
Okay,
but-
yeah, I think she sent it out Friday maybe, but we got a meeting scheduled at 1:30 to start the process and stuff, so.
If the county attorney has to form.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can, I'm sorry about that. Didn't think about that.
Do we have a projected cost on GGA?
We don't yet. Since we added the courts and county attorney, we don't have a deal until we identify the scope
We're not at
first.
that point of signing the contract or anything.
That's the meeting Thursday, I'll tell you, the meeting Thursday, that's kind of what we're planning to do, Dawn, is be able to, identify the scope of the study as it relates to what we're wanting, and then would be to go to GGA and say, here, this is our scope now, this is what we're looking at, do you have a projected cost as it relates to this type of study? And those should be able to give us something. And so then I hope to have that back to you within a couple of weeks, to be back and letting you guys know cost estimates.
I occasionally, have a citizens that'll ask me where we're at on our jail
Absolutely.
situation, and my response to them, we know our jail situation has got a lot of age to it because of the changes in statutes, the change in everything else. We're gonna have to take some steps to evaluate where our position needs to be down the road. So we gotta start someplace.
Yep.
Even, you may or may not be here next year,
Right.
you've announced your retirement.
Yep.
But whether you're in place or whether it's a new person in
Doesn't
place,
matter.
we still need to take steps.
The need doesn't change.
The need is absolutely there, and I haven't had anybody and I haven't responded to a couple of people,
You
but
bet.
I haven't had anybody that says, well, we need to proceed ahead,
Right.
and with everything that's at hand.
Well, this is one of Mike and I, wherever Mike's at, we've identified this as a priority thing that needs to get done and lay it out there, because it is gonna be a significant cost. We all know that, and so therefore it needs to be a lot of eyes on it to figure out what are needs and what are wants. Because wants cost money a lot of times versus, you know what I mean? So,
It all costs money.
it all costs money, but some of those wants, I don't
May not be a necessity.
may not be a necessity, so. Anyway, that's the first motion. I guess the thing you added was, and I didn't bring my pen, so it would be to add the,
As to form.
an approval of the county attorney as to form. And direct the chairman to sign the related documents. That's what it would be, and I'll let Wade if he has any. Nothing? Okay.
Nothing. Nothing to add.
I didn't know if Wade had anything,
So
so
far, so good.
that would be it.
I will move that motion.
Bob makes the motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Don seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Carries 4-0.
All right, we'll have you sign those documents then. And the second motion is, I'll get those documents from you after the meeting. This is a proposal that we asked, construction company to give us an estimate or a quote on as to a jail bay temporary renovation project that we're working on. And what that is the first page is one of the mezzanine area, and the second page shows what it would be a, for lack of better words, temporary wall behind the big roll-up door, and it would have two steel entry doors. And if you look at the third page, the diagram that I did the best I could on shows that jail bay area by putting in those two, the double doors where the roll-up door is, and then a mezzanine area. Because what that is right there, if you've been down there, right at the jail booking area, there's just off of that a small storage room. It's like a 6x8 storage room where the refrigerators are, where we gotta keep the juice and milk and that stuff, and then there's shelving in there with inmate supplies, clothing, blankets, that sort of thing. We're taking that, our plan is to take all that stuff out of there and turn it into a workroom, mental health, counseling room, lawyer meeting room, jailer study room, an all-purpose room. And that's the only room I got left. So, our Sally Port is unusable the way it is. What it was originally designed for was for a patrol car to be able to pull in, door come down, securely get your inmate out. But if you've been down there or been by there lately, we've got a lot of stuff in there, a lot of stuff out in that shed. That's just bulky stuff that we have to have, like when we're max housing like we are, what we call the boats and the mattresses and all that stuff. And so that's our proposal, but I don't want to do anything permanent based on the jail study. So what we came up with was to put a temporary wall up behind that roll-up door, and it would have a set of steel double doors. Well, when you got adverse weather and stuff, you can leave the roll-up door down, because the way it is now, we open it up, there's a blower, a heater blower in there, and that thing's wide open, and it's old, so I hate to see how much gas we're burning trying to do that, but yet we use it every day, whereas we can hopefully make it more efficient. So that's what it is, and the reason I came, one, before the commission is so you guys would know what's going on in the buildings, and two, to see if there'd be any interest by the commission to pay for this out of a fund other than the jail fund.
Where do these doors go?
That's the laundry room.
How do you get from here to here? Just walk? I mean, this is not gonna be a wall?
No, it's gonna be, that's a mezzanine or loft area above.
Okay, so below it.
Below it, you'll still be able to walk underneath of it and use the space underneath of it, yeah.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna leave it open, but you just put an overhead storage in, like for those boats and stuff that.
We're just trying to get more use out of the jail bay, more space, take advantage of more space we have.
And there's a very high ceiling in there. I think I meant to write down, but it's like a 15-high-foot ceiling. So that's a lot of space wasted above. So our thought was to come out about halfway with that overhead mezzanine storage area and put stuff up there and maximize it. And so we had him come, we worked with him, and he gave us a really good price on the set of steel double entry doors. It's a set of doors that he had ordered for another project and they didn't work. So he's selling them to us at a very...
I was gonna say that's...
Yeah, when I first
cheap.
When I first saw that, I thought, there is no way with steel double doors. Well, what it was is he had ordered this set of doors for another project, and then he stuck with them, so he basically gave them to us for his cost. So, that way he's not...
You can buy them for that.
Yeah, I don't know, so...
Good. Okay.
So that's what we're looking at, is to put that entry, or that in there, and the cost would be under $4,000.
That do capital improvement in it?
I would do general fund,
Just general.
capital outlay line item.
Capital outlay.
So that's my proposal to the commission. Otherwise, I mean, I can take it out of my jail fund, capital outlay, but then I'll be probably doing away with some other projects, which I'm willing to do. I just create dialogue, my gosh.
Yep.
And see what. But that way, we're using that small room more, because there's just not enough work area anymore. And like the other day, we had a RADAC assessment going on, which is a drug and alcohol assessment that the court ordered at a certain time. And we had a lawyer wanting to see his client, and we had 2 bookends going on. There just wasn't enough places to put them. Will there ever be? I don't know, but at least we can better utilize the space we have for now.
And we need a place for our jailers who are doing an online training.
Right.
To continue their training, and we need a room for that to set up. So-
We switched to a lot of online training for our jail staff, through the National Institute of Jail Operations, and so, but you can't use the computer in the jail office, because that, you gotta be doing jail work, and so that would be another room that they could use, an all-purpose room is what we're after. We're not gonna do a lot to it, other than put some lighting in to make it just lit up. Other than that, we're not doing anything to it.
It was an old holding cell back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day, it was a holding cell off of the jail, booking room.
Well, I think with the, jail study we're doing, everything, I think little projects like this are things I like to see that we can do that don't have a big impact, but yet it helps us utilize it, because some of the stuff, even after, no matter what we do, it's gonna be usable for somebody.
Very well, good.
So I think it's good.
And we have started a process, well, I guess let's stay on this, Focus, Randy, focus. Focus, Randy. So we'll stay on this issue. So, be glad to answer any other questions you might have, or...
Do I have any other questions?
No, this sounds like it's kind of a service to the needs for a lot of different little issues at very nominal cost. So.
And really, that is our goal when we're looking at, like, and these projects is, you know, don't want to waste a lot of money. But what can we do internally to, and then repurpose what we have?
Well, the jail study's not gonna happen overnight.
Bingo.
Whatever that study shows us, the projection, we go ahead, might be 2 or 3 years down the road. So we've also got to take some steps in the meantime.
Right.
To improve.
Yep, because it ain't happening overnight. You're right.
So, upon recommendation of the sheriff to approve the bid of Martin Hinman Remodeling for a jail bay renovation project with cost not to exceed $4,000, with funds to come from the general fund capital outlay line item.
Bob moved.
Bob moved.
I'll second.
Don seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Carries 4-0.
Thank you. And we are doing some things now, to move on to that other part. We are looking at, because it's interesting to say it, Bob, we did a walkthrough the other day through the jail, identifying areas that are of a concern, and little things that we can do to increase safety in the jail, plus reduce liability exposure, little things like that are going to be a pretty nominal cost that we're going to try to absorb those little things within our budget. But when if they're a bigger project, you know, I feel out of necessity to come to you guys and let you know what we're doing. And that way we all know what's going on. And at any time you want to come down and take a look, feel free to come down. We'll give you a jail tour or whatever, and let you see what we're doing. So, all right, the last thing I have is going to need an executive session, and Wade would have the purpose. It's
Did you already talk about your pilot? issue insurance?
Yeah, we did. I told them, when the insurance agent was here.
Okay.
And so, because that's what's about, we got an inmate we gotta pick up down in Texas. And looking at the cost, it's gonna be much cheaper probably for us just to fly down, spend the night, get him out of the federal prison, put him on our plane and bring him back. A lot cheaper, a lot cheaper. So, but we also don't wanna expose ourselves liability wise first, so we gotta get that in order, so. And if we can't do it, we can't do it, but if we can, we can. So, the other thing is.
So, here's the wording. I believe the sheriff is requesting a motion for the commission to recess into executive session to discuss matters related to security measures that protect the public body or agency pursuant to the discussion of securities measures exception under KSA 754319B12. In this case, the public body or agency is the Coffee County Sheriff's Department. Executive session is warranted because discussion of such matters would jeopardize such security measures designed to protect that public body or agency.
Absolutely what he said. And we don't need very long.
And who do you want?
Me, you, and the commission is it. I mean.
And for how long?
I hate to make 5 minutes, seriously, it's not gonna take long at all. I promise I'll stay on task.
Do you also want the undersheriff?
Yeah, let's have the undersheriff in there too.
I'd suggest you have Mike
Yeah,
involved in it.
Mike can come join us.
Okay.
Also moved.
Dawn has moved, is there a second?
Second.
Tom has seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Carries 5-0. 4-0 for 5 minutes. At
My friend,
11:27.
you've lost a lot of weight.
That changed pretty quick.
Yep, thank you.
No matter what. Good question.
I don't think it's actually resolved today. I'll get with Russell and we'll talk a little more and go down to talk to Everett too.
Yeah.
Visit with
We don't
him
have
and-
one before Russell.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Yeah, we're on.
Yeah, so I'll take care of it and then come back to you guys before we do anything. So I think that's it. I know you guys are doing the visa bill today. I'm willing to stay. If you got any questions or anything on any of the purchases or anything you might have on it, I'm willing to stay up and answer any of those questions. Or, I mean, if there anything comes up on it. I'm trying to do better on the lost receipts. I think there's only a couple. I think this month. I hope.
We're just now going through it.
Oh, okay.
I'm about a third of the way through it. So far, everything's checked out.
You know, I would just say on that, I just throw this out there. A lot of the stuff that we used to be able to get locally, we cannot anymore. I mean, little things sometimes just aren't available. I mean, it just, we don't have a lot of those items, you know, that we need to.
And we actually lost one of our good vendors that was able to do a lot of cut down on stuff, and that company ended up pulling up, and so.
Okay.
So anyway.
You just now said that?
Yes.
So.
I didn't see him squeeze in.
Oh, what? Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, I'll get them mailed out.
And you have them.
Thank you. So.
Can't believe it.
That concludes our agenda. But I see people have returned.
So we got a motion together. If you wanted to act on it today, you can. If you want to wait, obviously, that's up to you. And see if that's how you want it worded. Okay.
Upon the recommendation of the Director of Emergency Management of the Radio Users Group and approval of the current county attorney as to form, waive purchasing policy due to sole source provider. Motorola is the equipment provider to the state of Kansas radio system. Move to accept the quote from Motorola Solutions, Inc. and to purchase radio system package Quote dated January 27th, 2020, in the amount of $2,167,000. Start over. $2,167,196, with funds to come from the Equipment Reserve Fund, and not to require city and county agencies to reimburse Coffee County for the respective equipment issued to them. Alright. Do you wanna read it instead?
Since, I guess I kinda made that recommendation since I'm on the committee, and since I had the privilege of signing a check for $1.3 million last time we bought radios, I'll make that motion.
Well,
Sticking your neck out a long way.
There you go, you do
Or
it.
two.
I
One or
don't
two,
know.
I think it should be one probably, but the rest of it is direct chairman of the Coffee County Commission to sign the contract documents as reviewed by the county attorney, and allow the director of emergency management or dispatch supervisor to sign additional documentation as required.
And I will add that to my motion.
Ball moves.
Second.
All seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Carries 4-0. You want this, Angie?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Oh, come on, Andy.
And then if you wanna hand
Sure.
out these, and I'll explain what that is, more motion.
Which I can email that to you.
I was gonna say,
I can email that to you.
might be
okay.
better.
If you don't want to do
Sure,
that.
sure. Thank you. Work smarter, not harder, right? Okay.
You ready?
You want me to give you a little explanation on this?
Yeah.
Okay, so this motion is, for our agreement with CIC, and it's our total county financial, software system. We do this renewal every year. The increase over last year is $1,785. Wade has reviewed it, and usually that's kind of what we do, is let the county attorney review it, make sure everything still looks good, and, as long as you guys are okay with that, this is the standard motion from last year with the appropriate changes in the dollar amount.
Should it say as to form on county attorney?
Sure. Let's do that.
Consistency. Upon the recommendation of the county clerk and approval of the county attorney as to form, move to waive the purchasing policy as to competitive bidding for good cause, said cause being that the vendor is a single source supplier contract, and to approve annual peopleware agreements and support January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020 from CIC, Computer Information Concepts, Inc., in Greeley, Colorado, in the total amount of $34,775. Funding for the purchase will come from the general fund, courthouse general contractual line item, in the amount of $34,775. Is there a motion? So moved. Don moves. Les. Is there a second?
Second.
Colin, second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Carries 4-0. Anything else? Of course.
I'll wait till next week, but, well, I hadn't done it this year yet, and with the new commissioner seated and stuff, and if it's gonna create a long discussion, we can do it next week about, commission's preference on concealed carry in the courthouse. Previous commissions up till now have allowed concealed carry because of what's required for security measures. Basically, in a Reader Digest version, we'd have to lock it down, only one entrance in and out, and that would have to be screened with magnetometer, et cetera. And we've chosen not to do that. The judges have chose to continue that in the courtroom and the district court area when they're in session, et cetera, but I wanted to throw that out. If you need me to do some homework and bring back to you, I'm more than glad to bring you the statutes and stuff, but that's what previous commissions have done, I just wanted to throw that out there. It's your decision. That's it. That's all I got to say about that. We'll keep doing what we're doing unless you tell us different. How's that?
Sounds good.
That's
Wade, anything for roundtable? Yeah.
Yes.
The head meeting.
First thing to talk about, with the ongoing dialogue of office space and additional help within the county attorney's office. There's been at least an initial discussion about potentially, seeing if the county attorney's office could absorb where, Donna is currently sitting. Had a conversation with Donna about that, and, you know, the one thing I don't want to do is displace somebody, but I don't want to speak for Donna, but I think the conversation was a positive one, that she wouldn't mind moving the location for her to move temporarily until we figure out what would happen long term, is down to economic development. They have an open office there, they have space, and I'm not sure what the commission's thoughts are on that idea, but that wouldn't entirely solve all the issues in the county attorney's office. But what it would do is create additional space for an additional staff member, as well as allow the office where Donna is currently to potentially be, it doesn't have a conference, it wouldn't be a conference room, but it would at least be a safe space for someone who is a victim, either in a crime. They could meet with the victim witness coordinator, which is Lori, and do so in a private setting. Shut the door on both sides, put up blinds or whatever needs to be put up, and that could be that location. So, trying to be creative and solution-based, I think that might meet the needs, but it would mean Donna would move to a different location, and it's a suggestion. So I don't know what everybody's thoughts are, if that's even a possibility, and I think I'd like for Donna to at least have a say-so and what her thoughts are on that too.
Yeah, I really, it doesn't bother me at all, to move. In fact, I'm kind of excited about it. So anyway, yeah, I told Wade that I don't have a problem with it.
My only concern is if we get when we get an economic development director, what are we gonna do then?
Right.
You'll have to think of something.
Yeah, we had a little thing, we're just popping around here.
I don't have a
I'll
problem
do
with it,
whatever
but
is best for everyone and whatever works the best for everyone.
I think it's good that you talked to Donna, and I think it's good that Donna is willing to do that. And as far as when we get an economic development director, I'm sure if we're taking care of it now, we can take care of it then.
Yep.
So we have a couple of young commissioners here that would be willing to move miles.
I will
Young,
also
I said young.
volunteer in
I'm
a
glad you
waiver.
said young.
Need some help. I've got
I
some
can probably
guys,
get it.
I got some trustees that are
Good.
willing to work,
Thanks.
so
Cool.
So,
we'll help you.
When can I move?
Yeah.
so if that's something that you're willing to entertain, the other thing, and because this is being done in the open format that it is, I think then my initial reaction would be from the public side, accessibility to Donna, and I think it needs to be ensured that Donna will remain accessible to the public and wherever she goes.
signage to
Yeah.
note that.
We need to get a sign down on the hallway for that.
I think it's fantastic for the communications has already taken place, whether we agree or not agree. You know, that's neither here nor there, but I think we're probably all in favor of it because, you know, you've made a situation very, very workable with what's at hand. So anytime people can communicate and bring a plus back to us, I mean, that's the way things ought to be happening.
Yeah, it'll be really handy to have that conference room too, because then I can take the books and work on them down there. And I don't think it'll be any big deal to bring them up. I just figured I could get one of those little pull carts.
Pull carts.
To put things on, and it shouldn't be any problem.
And the other thing is, doesn't Rhonda help you and stuff
Yeah.
fill in for you when
I'm
you're
gone.
gone?
Mm-hmm.
That'd make it easier for her. Think about it. How about you, Matt?
Cody and Tom aren't doing it this afternoon, I guess you just start, the meeting's over.
We got board meetings this afternoon, Bob.
What about getting with Brad, finding out what
Fiber.
technology and stuff you need?
Yeah, I would guess that's all there.
It's already in office, so.
Yeah, it's already in
Just
office,
move
it's all
my-
there,
Hook it up
economic
to
development
network.
has it all plugged up, just a matter of relocating you, take your phone. Do you need some boxes?
Probably.
We've got boxes.
Okay.
We move quite regular down there around, so
yeah.
we keep boxes. We never unpack, we just keep rotating.
No, that's you.
That's me. They keep kicking me out of one office to another, and
So with that being said, then that appears to be something that's gonna happen now.
makes sense.
That will solve one of the outstanding issues with the county attorney's office. The other issue is additional, help. So now that there will be space for additional help, now I'll work on creating a proposed job description to present to the board, and then have to figure that part out, because that situation remains fluid, it's still a need, and still needs to be addressed, so.
With Lori moving into there with her court record stuff, will you need to change that glass door out?
We may have to frost it, or put
Who frosted that?
It's just,
a blind over it
tape.
initially.
It's on there.
Really?
It's just tape that'll peel off.
No, I meant I didn't mean for the, I meant for the security part,
It
you
looks
need
like
a
it's
solid
been
door.
etched, but it's
Well,
not.
that I need to
tape.
think about.
I thought it was
Because
etched.
that may be an issue. I mean,
Is it
if
on the
somebody wants to
inside
throw
then?
themselves through the door,
Yeah.
It'll just peel off.
That's cool shit.
it's still the same issue that remains right now, present time today, so.
Oh, Jay, Zembeki.
Yeah.
I understand why it's there, but
I know
it would
where
be
he
my
works.
first choice.
I know where Jay works.
Oh, that's right.
Jay Zembeki was the one that did that stuff on there. I think I know where he works.
That's right, I forgot.
And he still does do vinyl. He does our vinyl graphics and stuff on our
So
vehicles.
that should just
so.
peel right off.
But they may not want anything on that door.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know as far as
They
maybe.
may still want them to come through the other office.
Well, probably something.
Wait, take
It's
care of
Wade's
that.
problem,
With-
that.
If you need
That's right.
Spray paint,
spray paint, OD green.
Flocking,
or what's that,
like the Christmas tree flocking frosting.
Oh, that like fake
Frosting
snow stuff.
overlay. There's some frost overlay that you can put on it.
Yeah.
If that's what you choose.
Okay.
Duct tape.
so
Makes sense.
that issue. Moving back to the bridge construction agreement, I don't recall exactly when that conversation initially took place. Someone will have to, if that needs to be an emotion, but what I'd request is there be a motion for the chairman to sign on recommendation of approval as to form by the county attorney, the bridge construction agreement between the city of Burlington and Board of Coffee County Commissioners as it relates to the replacement of the deck and railing on Bridge Number 2, known as Osborne Bridge, located at the intersection of Kennebec and Osborne. That's my understanding of what the discussion was. The only thing I don't know is where that's gonna come out of, so someone will have to chime in, but that would be the motion. There's two agreements, one for the board, and then one that would need to go to, the city.
You discussed that coming out of, that money coming out of community improvement, because it was,
Yeah, I would think that was where you would
it was
get that.
intended for the community.
Mhm.
Thought we did.
And in essence, as we discussed earlier, all labor and materials necessary to replace that deck and railing on the bridge are being covered. The payment, owner shall be responsible for the cost of any realignment of the bridge. County will pay engineering costs and inspections during the construction process, which, in my conversations with Wayne, is what the agreement was.
Yeah, only for the bridge, because I don't think they're gonna do any realignment or anything now.
No, I talked to Mark, I forget what entity he got a hold of, but they said if there's never been an accident there, don't.
So that's a motion, and I'll hand, unless there's anything from there.
I'll move.
Excuse me. Tom moves.
Second.
Bob seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Carries 4-0.
Bob moved and who second?
No, Tom moved.
Tom
I
moved.
seconded.
Bob
Yeah.
second.
Okay. That'd be county attorney.
Ready for me again?
Ready for you again. You want me to sign both of them?
Yes.
Whichever. Version.
Request a motion for the commission to recess into executive session to discuss matters related to security measures that protect public body or agency pursuant to the discussion of security measures exception, KSA 754319B2. In this case, public body or agency is the Coffee County Courthouse. It's so myself, the clerk, the treasurer, and the sheriff, and the undersheriff who makes it back in.
For how long?
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
So moved.
Bob moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Don seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. 4-0. Go in for 10 minutes, 11:54.
I can hear him.
Well, not quite. We gave Newstone almost 50%.
Get in here, Ronnie.
I'm keeping tabs.
Huh? Oh, zoom out.
Because I
Yes,
feel
wait.
that's the way to do it.
See ya.
They need help, let's give them that.
I,
The kick plates would be more for like where you're hiding type deal. Instead of the primary doors, we need to get through those primary doors.
Right.
But we can come back with some recommendations to you guys.
I think it'd be good if you did.
Yeah, I think so. I think to look at a cost, oh, you're fine. You know, cost analysis and come back with some recommendations. Be glad to.
Get that spread.
And I think we're out, I know, but that's one thing, as follow-up from the Alice, that we need to do is go around and identify what those improvements could be and put it in a sheet for you guys, so you have a cost analysis to see what those recommendations would cost. In fact, I think we got a meeting, don't we, coming up?
At 1 o'clock, at 1, yeah.
At 1 about,
55 minutes.
and so I imagine some of the discussion points might be.
Right.
Yep. Roger will go.
Request, this is the last one, I promise. Motion for commission to recess into executive session. Consultation with county counselor to discuss ongoing county litigation for matters being privileged under the attorney-client relationship, exception to Kansas Open Meetings Act, KSA 754219B2. Myself, the commission, county clerk, county treasurer.
For how long?
You gotta go 15, but you always
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
you're cutting close.
Alright.
So moved.
Dawn moves, is there a second? Tom seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Carries 4-0. We'll go in for 10 minutes at 12:07.
I'll shut your door.
Yeah, I gotta grab something.
Oh, sorry. We're done with the need for all these extra chairs.
What about, the salary study? If they want to make a motion next week or this week?
I'm gonna ask him to get them mailed out.
Wade, is that working now?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Can ask Brad at the department head meeting.
There you go.
I'd assume it's working. It's up there.
We're in.
We're in.
Anything else?
Last thing I have, semi-weekly reminder on our salary study. I'm not sure where we are with it, what needs to happen.
43 minutes, we'll discuss it with department heads and should be able to make a decision next week, or do we wanna wait until Fred returns?
My opinion is that was the company we chose in the end until we changed the scope. I'm not gonna change my vote.
We can call Fred, I guess, next week and then. Okay.
Well, we can, but we'll go back to say, when I came here, I was told, if you're here, you're here. If you're not, business goes on with you, without you.
Okay.
I think this one here we could do with 4 and not have to have, we pretty well know where Fred would be at. The significant difference in cost, so.
Okay. So that's where that is.
That's all I have, just a reminder, nothing else.
Angie, you have anything for roundtable?
I do not.
Tom?
Nope. Nope.
Bob? Don?
Nope.
I don't, Nana?
So, March 3rd, I forgot, that North Carolina,
Yes,
I cannot go.
you can't. So I need to cancel that one. It's March 6th.
6th, yeah,
Okay.
sorry, I said 3rd, but yeah, I meant 6th.
Okay.
It's on the calendar, but no, can't do it.
Looks like, Tom, you have tomorrow at 9,
Alright.
we're meeting for solar energy presentation.
Yep.
And that looks like it's it. That's all I have.
All right.
I can't help you move either.
Okay.
My shoulder is
It
killing
sounds
me.
like that there's plenty of help.
Yeah.
Get her taken care of. Well, if that's it, we'll adjourn at 12:19.
We still gotta sign off on this one.
Oh, no, we won't adjourn.
There's one here that there's not a receipt for, and we were told there was only two. One of them $40. There's I've been through half of them, and every receipt was there.
I'll make a copy of it.
I think everything's probably been checked out. Just had that one small one and
Don scrutinized it pretty good, so. Tom have it, if he wants to look at it.
are we recessing to 1 o'clock or adjourn and then come back?
We're not.
It was just
Having a
department
meeting.
heads.
It's
Sorry.
a department head meeting.
Yeah, it's not our meeting.
Not a commission meeting, it's a department head meeting.
Are we to be here for it?
I'm gonna be here.
You want me to ask
I mean,
Wade?
Department head.
Do you want me to ask Wade to be for sure?
Usually just one commissioner attends.
Usually
if-
just one commissioner.
If one's attending, you know, but yeah.
Commissioner and department
If you
heads.
don't want to.
I don't see a reason this one, you know, it's department head meeting, if we're gonna have one with the commission, we should have had it while we were here then. It's my thinking.
So we'll adjourn then.
Talk gets finished.
So you're going?
Next Friday, the 14th, Coffee County Hospital. Did you see that in correspondence? I think it's last week. For having their ribbon cutting for the building renovation. I was thinking someone probably needed to do
That was next Friday.
the 14th, Two to three.
2 to 3.
And then on the 18th, it's the commission. I didn't do it.
Yeah.
So we're not declaring a holiday for Wednesday, so everybody can go to Kansas City.
All right, at 3, tell me, I don't want.
Sounds like fun.
Your definition of fun and mine are very
Yeah.
different then.
I guess.
Will they be televising that maybe?
Oh,
Everybody can see it.
guarantee it will be. Just like with the
I
rolling.
guess Donna, no, Tom, Don and I was the only ones that lived through two of the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl, so. Yeah, you,
I was around.
you were around.
That's 12, or 11, excuse me.
Yeah, so 3 of us. Hopefully, everybody else doesn't have to wait 50 years.
Again. If Mahomes stays healthy, I don't think you're gonna have to wait.
They might be there next year.
But it should have been there last year, it hadn't been for a defensive lineman, line up all sides 2 feet, and he said the officials should have warned him. Tell you what, that lineman was making millions of dollars and can't look down the line of scrimmage.
Everybody makes mistakes, Don.
Not that type of mistake. Totally unreal. They could raise, they had two of them in a row. Need a bigger clip for that, Tom.
Yeah.
I don't have a big one.
I'll make it.
Got it? All right. Now we can adjourn at 12:25.
Right, yeah.